Great. Well, good morning, everyone. Thank you for joining. We're just going to give few more minutes for everyone to connect. There's a lot of people connecting. That's great. Great to have you here. Good morning from where you are. Good afternoon if you're in other part of the world, or good night even. Probably there's night for you. This is a very good and excited webinar since we are from all around the countries, all the members of the firm of Russell Bedford. Thank you are thanking you very much for joining, and well, still people connecting. That's great. That's good. Thank you, everyone. Thank you to all the members. We are member of Russell Bedford, and we are also members of the Tax Center of Excellence in Russell Bedford. So that's I think that's a good point, because we are the experts. So please let us know if someone has any doubt. And this is a very good webinar because we're going to see what are the tax authorities. If you can just project the presentation, please, Jose. That's great. What is going to be the webinar for? The webinar on presentation mode, please, Jose. Thank you very much. That's great. How are the tax authorities in your countries using artificial intelligence in the tax administration? And that's a very good topic because, everyone is talking about artificial intelligence or AI. We will name it as AI for a better understanding of everyone. So everyone is talking about AI, and we're going to talk what are the countries that we are going to present what AI is using. Well, how tax authorities, are using this AI. Okay, so we'll start with Mexico. Mexico, come to the scenario. And Mexico, you all almost you all know me probably. I'm from Mexico, and I'm going to be presenting this part also with Antonio. And what is the tax authority doing here in Mexico? Well, as I always say in most of my webinars or the presentations that I made here in Mexico, we are like the song of I don't know if you know the rock band Def Leppard, and the song is Two Steps Behind. So we are two steps behind the tax authority, and not because we are in romance with them or we have a relation with them. They take us two steps. Tax authorities here in Mexico are in front of us, and they are we are two steps behind them. They already know. They do these audits and all those procedures that they do in order to collect more money. With They help with the AI. How do they do this? Here in Mexico, we have an electronic invoicing. This electronic invoicing here in Mexico is controlled by the tax authorities here in Mexico. So when you issue or when you sell something or have any revenue here in Mexico, you have to issue an invoice. And this invoice goes directly to the tax authority systems. So tax authorities already know what is the revenue that you're doing each day, each day. So they know, because they have all this bunch of information, this big data from all the taxpayers here in Mexico. They have already the static behavior regarding the tax payments. So they know what you are invoicing, and also they know what your expenses are. So what they are doing with this AI is that they're very fast. I said it here. You can see it in the point 4. The timing, it's a record time. If you do something in a tax matter here in Mexico, tax authorities the next day, they already know what you issue yesterday. So they make invitations to the taxpayers to clarify if they have some differences between what you are what it is in your tax returns. In your tax returns, here in Mexico, we make monthly tax returns for the income tax and also for the VIT. So tax authorities already detect these differences and issues invitations to clarify why are you presenting on the tax return, let's say a number of 10, and they have on their records probably 12. So they make this invitation to you and say, okay, I have some doubts because here in my system, I know that your revenues are 12 and you just put on your tax return 10. So explain me the differences. But that's because of the AI. That's a very record time that they do this. They can do it the next day, and they do it to the taxpayers. Okay. What is also doing well with this, all these thing with the AI is that the tax authorities make reconciliations, and that's what the difference that they send you. Okay, that's the main thing that they do on the taxes, and that's on the income tax and the VIT, the value added tax. The next one, please. And Antonio, what can you tell us about this, about the transfer pricing obligations and the AI with the tax authorities, please?
Thank you, Roberto, and welcome to everyone. I'm going to talk about some issues that the authorities in Mexico are doing about transfer pricing. For example, everybody knows that artificial intelligence has transformed many industries in the last years. So in the tax field, it's not an exception. The AI has proved to be a key tool in automating tax processes and detecting tax risks by analyzing large volumes of data in real time. So this improves both efficiency and compliance with tax obligation. In the ability to identify patterns and anomalies in the Mexican authorities is to identify non-compliance or late submission in transfer pricing obligation for the taxpayers. The authorities have identified patterns and detect that non-compliance behaviors in the receptions of transfer pricing reports. So the results allow to identify if taxpayers is up to date with this transfer pricing obligation. Just a result, in May 26, the collection taxes, the amount was for 106 billion pesos in the period of the last 5 years, from 2019 to 2024. This achievement was made possible through the application of transfer pricing procedures using the AI, among other tools. But in the same period of the year 2013 to 2018, the collection was only 29 billion. So this is a difference from 106 billions to only 29 billions 10 years ago. So this is a very successful tool for the authorities in Mexico. Another situation is the unjustified tax losses with related parties. As you know, the operations between companies should have a business reason. In case an operation between companies from the same group can generate or should generate a profit, or it can be a reimbursement, but the losses can generate an adjustment for transfer pricing. So according with the firm, the use of AI for automation in the tax field can reduce the time spent of manual tax by 80%. So this allows professionals to focus on more strategic and high-value activities. This reflects in the authorities' personnel that can increase the result in the detection of losses in transactions between companies of the same group. Since these types of results generate suspicions among tax authorities, they don't allow losses in this kind of operation. So this could be a strategic plan to transfer tax benefits. And in the last item, I'm going to talk about the detection of irregularities. The tax authority has intensified irregularities such as changes in methodology, new transactions, losses in intercompany transactions, lack of withholdings, and transactions with foreign companies. So it has, the authorities, it has develop algorithms to help to detect situations using the app that it can call this attention and requires clarifications. So as you can see, the AI is a very successful tool in the tax authorities in Mexico in the last year. So this is a fact that I will continue to implement a new audit models to increase this tax collections.
Thank you, Antonio, very much. The next one, please. Rocio from Spain, Rocio Luna. What can you tell us? What's happening in Spain?
Hello, everybody. Good morning. Thank you for watching. First of all, it is important to note that Spanish tax laws have been requiring taxpayers to provide information to the tax agency digitally about their economic activities for many years. For more than 10 years, companies have gone paperless in their tax returns and communicate with the tax agency exclusively electronically. Currently, all companies with a turnover of more than $7 million must declare to the tax agency each invoice they issue and receive. In the short term, all businesses, including small and medium-sized enterprises, will be required to issue electronic invoices, which must be previously reported and verified by the tax agency to be valid. This massive collection of data by the Spanish tax agency has allowed it to have information available to monitor taxpayers' cross-reference data and thus combat tax fraud. In this context, all AI would be responsible for analyzing this data, identifying potential taxpayers or risky transactions, and collaborating with tax auditors in the fight against tax fraud. Other functions besides the collection of public funds would be assistance to taxpayers. In this sense, the Spanish tax agency has integrated AI into the following areas: fraud detection and prevention. AI is used to analyze large volumes of data to detect patterns that could indicate tax evasion. Better taxpayer assistance. The Spanish tax administration is also using AI to improve taxpayer support. This includes features like same-day telephone appointments and the creation of a simplified filing system for straightforward income tax returns. The innovations help to streamline and simplify interactions between citizens and the tax agency, of course. Next slide, please. And how AI has improved tax collection in Spain. There are no detailed official statistics published by the Spanish tax agency that quantify the increase in tax revenue due to the use of AI. However, several specialized sources provide insightful estimates and data. In this sense, a recent report indicates that since adopted AI, tax agency may have achieved an approximate 15% increase in tax revenue. In addition to the increase in revenue, the report states that AI has enabled the agency to process up to 100 terabytes of tax data annually, enhancing fraud detection and resource optimization. Although the tax agency does not publish specific revenue figures directly linked to AI, it has outlined its strategic objectives in its article titled Artificial Intelligence Strategy, May 2024. And some of these objectives would be the following: strengthen the efficiency of tax-related actions, improve taxpayers' assistance services, reinforce the prevention and fight against tax fraud. In the article, the tax agency also mentioned that AI helps to reduce mistakes in voluntary tax returns, which indirectly supports improved tax collection. Next slide, please. Well, the current systems and their impact in tax revenues with AI. Electronic invoicing and the Benefactor billing system is still not in force in Spain, okay? Will come into force in Spain in 2026, so we still not have this system. Here is a brief explanation of how the use of AI will help to further increase tax revenue. First of all, the mandatory electronic invoice system requires businesses and freelancers to issue invoices once it's in force next year in uniform digital format. This facilitates the automation of tax data capture and reduces mistakes. AI system can massively review these invoices in real time, detecting suspicious patterns, duplicates or interconnected users, much more efficiently than manual review systems. Another point with Verifactu is that this system generates and transmits invoice records automatically with QR codes. This allows the Spanish tax agency to receive billing data in real time, enhancing traceability and avoiding data changes. With AI, the tax agency can apply fraud detection algorithms at the moment of issuance, blocking manipulated or inconsistent invoices before they cause tax losses. Another point, reduction in fraud and unpaid debts. Electronic invoicing enables monitoring of payment deadlines, helping to combat commercial delinquency. Less fraud and fewer unpaid debts mean a higher volume of transactions is correctly declared and taxed, resulting higher revenue. With validated digital invoice data, the tax agency can allocate audit resources to higher risk areas, guided by AI-driven predictive models based on large data sets. This reduces administrative cost and increases the effectiveness of audit. And at last, numerical predictions on impact. While official data from Spain is still limited, several international and local sources provide realistic estimates. A review of similar EU initiatives shows that combining e-invoicing with AI-driven fraud detection can increase tax revenue from 2% until 5%, mainly due to reduced evasion and late payments. Another European study suggests that real-time traceability and AI algorithms could reduce VAT fraud by up to 30%, directly improving the taxable base. Predictive models for invoice payments have shown between 77 and 81% accuracy in identifying future payment defaults. This enables targeted collection of faults and can yield between 1% and 2% more in recoverable revenue. Next slide, please. A real example in EU regarding the implementation of this electronic invoicing system. In January 2019, Italy implemented mandatory electronic invoicing for B2B and B2C transactions. A study revealed that this system helped reduce cross-border VAT fraud, preventing losses estimated at 2.2 to 2.6 billion euros between 2018 and 2019. The Ministry of Economy estimated an additional increase in VAT revenue of 1.7 to 2.1 billion euros in 2019. Another report indicated that the VAT gap fell from 18.6 to 15.2% by 2021, resulting in approximately 3.9 billion euros in additional tax revenue. Furthermore, fraud detection jumped from 1 billion to 9 billion between 2019 and 2022, with annual tax collection gains consistently between 1.7 and 2 billion euros. The key success factor when combined with AI were the following: real-time transactional reporting, feeds, AI for instant fraud detection, significant VAT fraud reduction, direct tax revenue increase, and lower informality and delinquency. And the conclusion and prediction for Spain. The international evidence is clear. The combination of mandatory e-invoicing, real-time reporting, and AI-driven fraud detection algorithms has delivered real revenue increases from 10% until 15% in leading countries, saving billions in fraud-related losses. If Spain implements Verifactu and mandatory e-invoicing with proper AI integration, it can expect similar gains in both revenue and fiscal efficiency. Thanks for watching.
Thank you, Rocio. Well, interesting in Spain. So, Graham Caddock from the UK. What can you tell us? What is happening over there?
Hi, thanks, Rocio. And thank you to my two colleagues who I agree with much of what they've already said. So I won't duplicate that. Welcome from a very sunny London, which is not always so in the summer, but it is today. So I specialize actually in tax disputes and tax investigations. This is my area, and I focus on dealing with HMRC on a daily basis. Regarding AI, I would say AI is at the center and forefront of HMRC's tax gap strategy. And what I mean by tax gap is it's been estimated in the UK is that the tax gap, i.e. what HMRC and the government think the tax that should be collected and what is actually collected, that gap is approximately 40 billion pounds per annum, which is a huge number. So AI, HMRC and the government are focusing on AI to reduce that tax gap. And to summarize, I'd say that's in two areas. One area is for HMRC to reduce its tax costs. When I first started in tax, and interestingly, I don't know about my other colleagues around the world, but when I started in tax a few years ago, we had tax officers and inspectors in most cities and most towns and cities. Now, these days, we hardly have any tax presence in any cities. It's all focused in approximately 7 to 10 cities instead of most towns. So HMRC are going through a process of selling its infrastructure and selling its offices, and we have less tax officers, and HMRC are using AI and bots and web chat to interact more and more with taxpayers. The other side to HMRC using AI is one side is to reduce their cost base, and the other side is to increase taxes collected, and which is right in my area. HMRC are actively using AI to effectively find and seek out companies, businesses, and people who are either, one, not paying tax at all, who are collecting income and are in what we'd call the shadow economy and off-grid, and not paying tax, or taxpayers who are in the system, individuals and companies and businesses who are not paying their fair share. So HMRC are actively using AI to collect data from lots and lots of sources and huge amounts of data. And this data is put into HMRC's what they call their Connect database. And this database is very active, and it collects information from a range of sources. Now, some of those sources are internal to the government and HMRC. That can be information on land sales. So if people are selling land, and people or companies are selling land and buildings, car sales, and also collecting information from the UK Border Agency. So the Connect database is also trying to look out for individuals who are arriving in the UK and effectively trying to assess how many days that those people are in the UK, and then trying to assess whether those individuals should be liable to UK tax on residency days, etc. Also, the database also collects information from a wide range of external sources, and that can be from estate agents, those agents that sell property to see which property is up for sale. Also, Airbnb and rental sites, Booking.com and Airbnb, to see which properties are being let. Many cities in the UK, like everybody else, has a very big letting business community, letting properties, and many HMRC believe are not paying their fair share. But also HMRC are looking at social media, looking at people who are not flaunting their wealth, but maybe putting out that they have more income that may be declared on their tax returns. So the Connect database is very active. AI is used extensively to assess the information and to try and produce targeted lists for HMRC to focus on investigations and inquiries. And what HMRC are doing more and more in the UK, instead of individual investigations by an individual inspector, which they still do, but less so, is HMRC are issuing what's called nudge letters. We call them nudge letters, one letter to many people. And those nudge letters are effectively writing to individuals and companies and effectively raising the question and asking them and their advisors, are your tax affairs up to date? Are your tax affairs correct? And those letters are giving those individuals and companies an opportunity to put their tax affairs right. And that's the kind of what we'd say that we've got the carrot and the stick in the UK. That's the kind of carrot side of saying, you know, we would like you to come forward. We believe we've got information on you that your tax affairs might not be correct. And the carrot side is saying, come forward. You know, we're happy for you to make a disclosure to ourselves. But the stick is to say, well, if you don't, and if you don't come forward, you know, we find you and we carry out an investigation, which we will. The penalties that can arise can be up to, you know, they're quite draconian. They can be up to 300% of the tax that gets assessed. And also, you know, we have criminal sanctions in the UK for those people who don't come forward or are deliberately evading their tax. So I would say that that's what HMRC are focusing on. But finally, I would say, from a UK perspective, HMRC are gathering a lot of information as part of the Common Reporting Standard, and a lot of information being received from overseas territories. And that information is being focused by HMRC to carry out lots of investigations into UK residents who may have offshore income gains and assets that effectively should be taxed in the UK. So in summary, I'd say AI is at the forefront of HMRC activity. It's used extensively, and it's used, from my perspective, to try and seek out those taxpayers or non-taxpayers who are not paying enough tax. So I hope that kind of summarizes, Roberto, from a UK perspective, and that's it from me.
That's great, Graham. That's very interesting. Thank you very much. And what is happening in Morocco? Now we're going to Morocco, all the way to Morocco. Somia, ¿cómo
Yes.
está Somia, Morocco?
Yes, welcome to Morocco. Thank you, Roberto. Thank you, Rocio. Thank you, Graham, for this amazing presentation. I'm gonna continue with the Moroccan one. So good morning, good afternoon, good evening, everyone. Thank you for joining this webinar on artificial intelligence in tax administration, transforming compliance and efficiency. This is Somia from Ras El Bedford, Morocco, Casablanca, and I'm very pleased today to be your host for this presentation. So today we will explore how artificial intelligence is reshaping tax administration, from automating routine processes and enhancing fraud detection to improving tax prior services and decision making. So, and we will also, I will also give you or take a look to some examples. And from my side, I encourage you to participate, if you actively share your questions, your ideas, and contribute your insights as we discuss this critical and important topic. So let's get started. In Morocco, the artificial intelligence is using agent chatbots to enable to interact with users, taxpayers, both in Arabic here in French, in Morocco, and French, only in Arabic and French, for 24 hours, 24 hours a day, 7 days a week. And it means you can ask questions through this the chatbots, so they will give you answers to common questions about filling deadlines, for example, for tax types or procedures. If you have questions about gates to use electronic declaration through platforms which it's named here in Morocco Simple, on which you can submit all your declarations. For example, a taxpayer can, for example, ask a question: how do I file my VAT declaration? And she will receive a personalized guidance instantly. Of course, it's through artificial intelligence. You have also large-scale hiring of data scientists. The new graduate from engineers, computer science, or applied mathematics school like NM. It's a higher school here in Morocco for engineers, are helping tax administration on improving and using artificial intelligence in tax administration and data-centric project management, so that the direction general DGE, it means the general tax administration here in Morocco, to shift from a reactive approach or to predict one, where patterns analysis and real-time anomaly detection become the norm. They generalized also of mandatory of filling or submitting. It was introduced to streamline tax procedures through the Simple, as I told you before. It's a platform, it's a portal, online tax services. It means if you want to submit declaration, CIT for annual CIT payments, for income on payroll, for VAT declaration, even monthly, either monthly or quarterly, you have to use this platform. It means that they will not, the tax administration will never accept a paper from you. You have to use this Simple to submit all your declaration. And with artificial intelligence, the tax administration will make some with rapproching what you submit as a client and what other submits, for example, as a supplier. Okay, so please, can we go to the next slide, please? The aggregation of diverse data, optimization of control through machine learning. Today, tax administration is using artificial intelligence to detect control. For example, if there is some companies who are not submitting declaration with tax ID, artificial intelligence will detect the one, and automatically the tax administration will make an audit for this company. The introduction of artificial intelligence into the tax administration continues training through partnership with engineer school as EME, as I told you before. They are helping there is a schedule, there is a program for this engineer to help tax administration to develop and to set up a new platform for other taxes. For example, today in Morocco we can submit also local tax, for example, business tax. Before, for example, last year, we have to prepare it as document and to send it to the tax administration and to pay there. Now you can use You can use the platform Simple to submit, even to submit and to pay your business tax. And thanks to intelligence artificial, today, especially this year, 2025, there is a lot of audit control here in Morocco from tax administration. Now you have, I will give you some examples. Artificial intelligence to cross-check data submitted by taxpayers with data form. For example, you buy something from foreign your country, for example, from Morocco. We made import from USA or from UK, for example. We have to pay. We have to declare the purchasing to the customs and to pay the VAT declaration on their purchasing. We have a social security. It names his in Morocco CNSS. When you submit contribution on salaries and wages, when you now banks can verify consistently with report to revenue. For example, you declare the amount, for example, for VAT as a turnover, and the tax administration can make reconciliation between what you have in your bank and what you have submitted on your VAT declaration. This is the example here down. If a company declares fewer employees than are registered with CNSS, with the Social Security, the artificial intelligence will help tax administration to trigger or control or request for clarification, because they will make a reconciliation between what you declare to security, social security, and what you declared on salaries and wages at the end of the year. Can we go to the next slide? The tax administration uses machine learning models also to analyze taxpayer behavior and financial data. For example, for VAT declaration, for income tax filing, these models flag anomalies such declaration low income while making high value purchases. So they will the artificial intelligence will make reconciliation. Then he will invite you to give explanation by writing or by submitting or later to explain. If there is a fraud, you have to pay on the difference. Frequently, feelings combined with high deduction, for example, and a business that consistently report losses but shows significant bank transaction may be flagged for audit automatically by the system, thanks to the artificial intelligence. Using historical data and artificial intelligence, the tax administration forecasts tax revenues and detects sector trend. For example, if a downturn is expected in the tourism sector, for example, the system adjusts expectation for related tax collection and improves planning. So when you submit declaration, the tax administration, as she is connected with bank, with CNSS, with the customs, the artificial intelligence with using machine learning model can detect the gaps between what you submit and what you have, for example, in your bank. Can you go? I think it's what we have today. Just one thing, it's about electronic invoicing. We don't have yet electronic invoicing, but Morocco tax administration and taxpayers, everyone are working on this. But the target is in 2023. In 2030, every company should have electronic invoicing. They are working on how to do it. Maybe we will be in a platform that every taxpayer had to use to put all the invoices made during a period for months, for example, so that tax administration can check. I hope what I presented it's helpful. So I invite you to participate and to ask questions. And I will give the floor to Roberto to introduce my colleague Eduardo Diaz from Brazil. Thank you very much for your
Correcto.
attention.
Thank you,
Very much.
Somia. Thank you, Somia. They're working hard over there in Morocco. Thank you very much. So,
No.
Eduardo Diaz from Brazil, de Brasil para el mundo. Come on, Eduardo, it's all yours.
Perfect, Roberto. Hello, everyone. Good morning, good afternoon, and good evening for us. Okay, I am going to talk about the use of artificial intelligence by Brazilian tax authorities. Nowadays, we can understand that the artificial intelligence is a great tool because artificial intelligence can help us to optimize internal process in companies, process automation, and many other things. And the Brazilian tax authorities also think this. So from November 2024, the tax authorities will use artificial intelligence as a tool. For example, improve monitoring and the fraud detection, review and identification of tax irregularities, reconciliation of information to detect tax evasion, cross-referencing information. Please, other slide. Okay. Other examples. Increase process efficiency for data analysis, interaction between regulatory bodies, and deployment of a conversational agent chatbot. So, in this way, we can see that the use of artificial intelligence is a great tool, is a fact. And is a great tool both for companies and tax authorities. Well, for Brazil, this is the information we have to share. Thanks for the opportunity.
Thank you very much. Thank you very much, Eduardo. They're doing very good over there in Brazil. Thank you. They also do samba, right? So okay, let's give it to our friend from the US, Steve Horn. Thank you, Steve.
Thanks, Roberto. Greetings from Atlanta in the US. It's a pleasure to present today with my colleagues from around the world. I promised them I would not charge any tariffs for my speaking engagement today, but who knows what will be subject to these tariffs these days. One day there's a tariff, next day there's not. Anyway, crazy times. So the tax authorities in the U.S. are very excited about AI. Why? Because per a government study last year, the estimated tax gap was over $700 billion. I think Graham said in the UK it was 40 billion pounds. So imagine $700 billion. So that, and again, that's the difference between what taxpayers should be paying and what the IRS, our tax authorities, are collecting each year. So the IRS entered into a collaboration with NVIDIA to create tools for fraud detection. The goal is to help identify patterns and trends of tax evaders. Once the computers start thinking like tax evaders, it can flag tax returns that may have fraud. This should help narrow the tax returns that the tax authorities should target for audits. But with recent budget cuts to the IRS by the Trump administration, it is hard to know what the investment in AI will look like. We know it's top of mind in Congress. If you dig into the so-called One Big Beautiful Bill you may have heard of, both the Senate and the House have passed different versions of that, and they're going to iron out any differences. However, both have budget allocations for AI in the area of homeland security, defense, commerce, and in other areas, but not necessarily for AI for the IRS. However, the IRS continues to use the reduced funding at improving enforcement. The IRS is not only focusing on evaders, the models are being used to identify tax returns likely to have mistakes and innocent mistakes. Look, the tax law in the U.S. is complicated, and many people try to do their tax returns by themselves, or they have accountant-prepared tax returns, and those have mistakes. I mean, not Russell Bedford prepared tax returns. Ours are always perfect, of course. But errors may include claiming refundable tax credits when not justified, for example. The AI models are designed to catch this. Partnerships and LLCs, limited liability companies, are treated as partnerships, are some of the most complicated tax returns, and the IRS hates auditing them. But with AI, we're expecting more audits and better reconciliations between the partnership tax returns and the partners' tax returns. Next slide. We believe there will be increased scrutiny of taxpayers with global assets. As you may know, the U.S. persons are subject to tax on their worldwide income. AI will help compare data from global sources to make sure income generated outside the U.S. is being reported on the taxpayer's U.S. tax return. And it will help identify issues with reporting foreign bank accounts. The IRS reports that it receives over 4 billion forms each year. AI will enable them to review millions of lines of information in minutes rather than weeks or months. Their models are getting better every day. A recent report from the IRS said that they recovered over $1.3 billion in overdue taxes through audits and collected over $375 million in check fraud by using AI to identify fraudulent activity. We fully expect AI will help reduce headcount at the IRS. As I noted previously, with the Trump administration slashing through government spending like a bull in a china shop, people are getting excited at the reduction of the IRS headcount, thinking it would mean less audits. But here comes AI to replace them. And states are also starting to use AI. With 50 states and 50 different tax laws, plus many cities also with tax filing requirements, there are lots of mistakes. Not all jurisdictions have the budget to implement AI, but it's just a matter of time, and states will be sharing resources. There's already sharing of resources between the federal IRS and states. And since some states don't have individual income taxes like Florida, Nevada, and Texas, AI is helping to confirm residency. Where I live in Georgia, for instance, we're close to Florida, so Georgians will sometimes buy vacation homes in Florida and claim residency there. But AI will help prove out that where these people actually live by scanning cell phone usage, grocery purchases, and utility bills, for example. And we cannot forget about sales tax, sales and use tax. AI is proving to be a great tool for states to scan online transactions, much like the other countries talked about. Many foreign sellers into the U.S. could get a big surprise if they are not properly charging and remitting state sales tax. Unlike VAT and GST, the U.S. sales tax is oftentimes an obligation of the seller when selling to the end user if the seller has nexus. The rules are complicated since sales tax is assessed at the state or municipality level, and we have so many of those jurisdictions. AI is getting better every day in catching non-compliance. So that's a quick rundown on what's going on in the U.S. Back to you, Roberto.
Thank you, Steve. Thank you. Very, very interesting. Thank you very much for what is happening in the U.S. Now we go all the way to Dominican Republic. Ana Carolina, what's going over there?
Good morning, good afternoon for many of you good night for some of you. Kind regard, and we're very happy about this subject. AI has taken the conversation quite interesting in the tax authority level. So in the Dominican Republic, it hasn't been an exception from what we've seen. And in 2022, the conversation started with the cooperation with the Inter-American Development Bank and the Fraud, Tax Crime Investigation Management within the Dominican Tax Authority. And they've been planning and developing implementation of a special tax intelligence software that was published, indeed, in a paper by Johanna Camarena Figueroa, head of the Tax Intelligence Department on the Dominican Tax Authority. So they described this software as an intended software to create a platform for mining and exploitation of work data that can be used by different managements within the administration. That development will be applying the newest trends in control and good practices, and will transfer the knowledge from CIT, that center, Inter-American Center for Tax Administration that I just mentioned, from the U.S. Treasury through the Office of Technical Assistance and the Organization of Economic Cooperation and Development, OECD. These entities indicate that the use of the massive information that is on the analysis mechanism and implementation of artificial intelligence in process will entail an exponential improvement in the detection of fraudulent profiles and practices. The AI software that they described back then will enable the workflow, integrate traceability, requests, complaints, and cases to maintain the quality, efficiency, and effectiveness. Moreover, it will enable the administration to have better and more opportune statistics. It will enable the proper follow-up of complaint requests, cases, improve the response times to the taxpayer, create unified information, and this is quite interesting, ensure the traceability that we talked about, and establish a unified database where information will be cross-referenced in a timely manner. So up until 2024, we didn't hear much going on, but on April 2024, the Director General of the Internal Revenue, Mr. Valdez, raised and tax admin to reduce the tax dispute line. So he pointed out that through arbitration, mediation, and of course artificial intelligence, there will be implemented.
You hear a little bit broken,
yes.
So I don't know if you can turn off your camera. Probably that will be better, no problem. So we can hear you better. There's a little bit. You just turn off the camera. Probably that will help.
So as I said before, is it better now? So as I said before, this new implementation of AI enable a better and more efficient interaction between taxpayers and the tax administration.
You're still with that.
Operatively speaking, the Dominican Tax Authority has included on its strategic programming and yearly planning a product label. Excuse me?
Go ahead, Ana.
I think we need to move on, Roberto.
I think we miss Ana. So So I think at the end of the day, I don't know if there's any other slide from Ana Carolina, Jose. Yeah. Well,
as I said before, so there's this line that was postponed in 2024, which is for the formulation and structuring of AI and data one, and it has been postponed to 2025. So in 2025, the tax administration model has been relabeled under the name 3.0 tax administration model. In March of this year, the Directorate General of Internal Taxes, which is the tax authority in the Dominican Republic, is implementing a series of technological innovations to modernize its tax system, above all, and to combat tax evasion, which is one of the pillars of this transformation. The measure seeks to optimize the analysis of large volumes of data and reinforce transparency in the collection process in the hope of reducing evasion gaps at the state finances. So it's projected that we implement invoices and that will give the administration more capabilities and more data to cross-reference. So they will be enabled through AI to detect and more power to dig deeper in this taxpayers more accurately or quickly, simplifying the process of potential fraud.
hey, Anna, I think you had a bad connection, Anna. I think I don't know if you can just tell us a conclusion very fast, because I think your connection is not that good. Just to make a brief conclusion.
Yes, so as I said before, there are three main areas where the administration is talking they will implement AI. One is data mining for evasion prevention. The other one is dispute resolution. And finally, tax fraud prevention and customer service that has been talked about in 2025. Again, thank you for your
Thank you very
patience
much.
and to the Tax Center for putting together. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Ana Carolina from the Dominican Republic. So let's say hi to Canada. Canada all the way over in Vancouver. Oscar, what can you tell us about Canada?
Hey, good morning, everyone. I'll keep this brief and not try to overlap with what's going on with the other countries. Canada, like the other countries, is starting to use AI more and more for its compliance. Can you guys hear me okay? Excellent. Just quickly running through it. So CRA is starting to use AI to predict the outcomes of tax litigation. So what that means is, are they willing, if they come across a case, is it worth it for them to pursue that tax litigation? Some of the things you could take a look at or think about would be the Panama Papers that were released and whether or not it would be successful for them to audit that. They're taking a look at AI to help predict the outcomes. Funny enough, the private sector is using the same tool to plan its tax litigation to see whether or not it's worth fighting CRA. One common example, one of our UK colleagues talked about one letter for the many. So those form letters the CRA sends out trying to catch people in their dragnet. Some firms are starting to use AI now to look at, is it worth responding to this? Should we just pay the amount? Is it going to be cheaper than us corresponding back and forth to see if it makes sense or not? Going on to the second bullet, enhanced collection and compliance programs. So similar to what the other countries were talking about, the CRA is starting to use publicly available data. So what might be interesting of note to our audience here would be your social media, your Reddit posts. If you're on a crypto forum, the government loves these. You type something to say you've got undocumented or haven't reported your crypto gains, and they'll send the AI after you. So that's where they're kind of moving in that direction. It's a bit of a challenge because the CRA is bound by privacy laws. So as they start to use more and more public data, privacy advocates are pushing back, asking, hey, can they even use this data? Is it public domain or are they overstepping? Moving on to the third bullet, digital services using AI. So if you go to the CRA website, you'll get that little chat bot. If you go to any other online site, you'll get that bot asking if you need some help, if you want to buy something. Well, on the CRA side, they're not trying to sell you anything, but they are trying to get you as much information as possible. Now, they have disclaimers all over the site not to include any personal information. And if any personal information is given, it's supposed to be scrubbed. But it's kind of like a chat GPT for the CRA website. It'll help the average taxpayer pull the information that they need, but it's not a be all end all type thing. Future plans for AI. The federal government will continue to develop and use AI in its day-to-day use. They're also taking a look at potential automatic filings. So something similar to some of our fellow countries that presented today. For example, say the UK with their pay program. So individuals that have tax slips that are automatically remitted to the government, they're looking at having pre-populated forms, and or, if you're an employee, you don't have to file unless you have other income available. Now, they've been talking about this for decades and it hasn't come through yet, but with the growth of AI, we might see that in the near future. All right, that's it for now from Canada. Back to you, Roberta.
Thank you, Oscar. Thank you very much. And thank you everyone that we were live now. But since we have a different time zones in other countries, such as Australia, we're going to project a video from our friends of Australia, from France, and also from Qatar. So they will let us know what is happening in those countries. So here, I left you the video with our colleagues.
Hi, everyone. This is Marissa Bennett from Marsden Stantons, and we're the RBI accountants in Perth, Western Australia. We're talking about the use of AI in the Australian Taxation Office. So effectively, what the Australian Taxation Office has been doing is concentrating and developing the use of AI and planning on expanding its use of AI over the coming years. It has done this by building a number of AI models that it's built in-house. And it released a report on the 14th of May 2024, where they highlighted that they've got about 43 AI models in production, and of that, 8 are currently in use as of June 2024. So these ATO models use a combination of machine learning algorithms, natural language processing, deep learning, and neural networks. I'm going to talk from a bit of a different perspective. These models are concentrating on accountants, accounting firms, and tax agents, and how and what we're lodging on behalf of our clients. And this is how they're sort of picking up information, gathering information, comparing, contrasting, and effectively sort of targeting what areas and what clients and what industry sectors they wish to look at. So some of the models are, for example, one is a Black Economy Emitted Income Scoring model, and that targets and helps the ATO to concentrate on cash monies, the cash economy, I suppose, and then that filters through to whether there's any illegal activity or income not being brought into account. The cash model and cash economy is a very, very large area that the tax office always targets year in, year out. Second one, for example, is a tax practitioner risk model, and that looks at the accounting firm and the tax agents and whether we're actually providing the right figures to the tax office on behalf of our clients. The income tax return lodgement model, again, back to the accounting firm, tax agents. It predicts and classifies tax agents on whether we're lodging returns for our clients on time and compares that to the lodgement program or compliance history with other tax agents. So they're effectively getting to the clients, but they're getting to the clients via the accounting firm or tax agents. There's another one called the TPRM pattern test, and that actually looks at the tax agents' behaviour, lodgement behaviour, and in relation to how we report, the timing of our reporting for our clients, whether we do any amendments, etc., whether our clients pay on time. So yeah, there's a number of different ways that they're trying to target. They're using AI to identify and look at whether revenue might be missed from the populations, from the Australian tax-paying population. There's the small business stratified sampling model, and that assesses whether we, as tax agents, may be understating our clients' business income being reported or overstating the deductible expenses being claimed by the client. And they do that by comparing reporting data between clients in the same industry. For example, you might have someone in the building industry, between, 3 accounting practices with clients in the building industry. They compare the data that each client over these 3 accounting practices are lodging. Another one might be revenue on disposal of property. So this is where they're looking at information that's being reported in a tax return from a client, and to say, okay, the state revenue, the state revenue might relay information to the tax office that says, okay, this client has disposed of property. The tax office then looks at the return that's been lodged by that client or for that client and says, okay, is the income on this property being shown to be capital nature or is it income in nature? And they're trying to classify how that property sale is reported in the person's tax return. Obviously, classification of property sales on income versus property sales on capital nature is different taxation implications. There's the tax practitioner risk model regarding GST. In some countries, that's VAT. In Australia, it's called GST, and this model examines whether the amount of GST being reported by us as tax agents for our clients is accurate by comparing similar returns in the same industry reported by other accounting firms. So yeah, there's a number of different ways that the ATO is reviewing, gathering information, I suppose, and then working out what's being reported across the industry, across the accounting and tax industry, and in that way getting through to what the Australian taxpayer is reporting. Is it accurate? Is it correct? Is there a risk of understatement of income and a risk of overstatement of expenses? And that all filters through, obviously, to the correct tax being collected by the Australian Taxation Office. Thank you very much.
That was Marisa, and now we go to France with Le Marquis.
Hello, I'm Maxime Lemarquis, tax advisor, and today I would like to present how the French tax authorities are using artificial intelligence to improve tax collection, detect fraud, and modernize public services. Let's take a look at what has already been implemented. So it's my first slide. First one and biggest one is CFVR, which stands for cross-referencing of fiscal and revenue data. It analyzes information from different tax databases and detects anomalies or signs of possible fraud. In 2023, 56% of all tax audits were triggered by this system. This means intelligence artificial is now playing a central role in selecting cases for investigation. Second one is TAAP. It's to manage public expenses. Since 2018, this tool has helped monitor public spending by detecting irregular patterns in government expenses and tax credit. It contributes to better governance and accountability. The next one is Foncier Innovant. It's a fun one. It means innovative land registry And this system uses aerial photography, like Google Maps or French satellites, to identify undeclared buildings and swimming pools. By May 2023, more than 100,000 property owners were contacted because their construction had not been reported. So it's very efficient. The next one, it's the implementation of chatbots and assistants for tax auditors. So French Tax Services introduced chatbot to assist taxpayer online, and digital assistant, so some form of government ChatGPT, now support the human agents. They help cross-reference data and make the audit process faster and more accurate. So what's next? My second slide. The next big project is e-invoicing. That's the next major reform. It's a mandatory e-invoicing between 2026 and 2027. All invoices need to be dematerialized, and this change will allow the tax authority to receive real-time data on VAT transaction. As a result, revenue inconsistencies will be detected much more quickly, and it should be easier and faster to detect and VAT fraud. So with real-time e-invoicing on the horizon, France is building a smarter and we hope more responsive tax system. Thank you very much. Hello, I'm Maxime Lemarquis, tax advisor.
That was Maxime.
All the French tax authorities are using artificial intelligence to improve tax collection, detect fraud,
Can you
modernize public
just forward to Qatar, please?
public spending,
Yeah.
property owner invoicing between easier and faster.
Okay, just a little bit. So that was Maxime from Qatar, from France, and now we're going to have Ahmed from Qatar.
It should be
Hello everyone, this is Ahmed Russoum from Ras Al Bedford, Qatar. Today we are talking about the General Tax Authority here in Qatar. What's the AI they are using to improve all the tax things here in Qatar between the business and the customer, and even the audit firms, between them and the General Tax Authority. The General Tax Authority, we will have a shortcut name, it's called GTA. GTA, they are announced from 2019, technically they are open in 2020. It's called Dariba system or Dariba portal. What's Dariba portal and what's this portal? It will be helping for you, and what's the AI things that this portal it's used to make your business and to make your tax thing easier. Dariba portal, what's the facilities or what's the technology that they are you will have it. You can make your tax registration automatically. You can filing your tax return automatically, also submitting your withholding tax, make your payment, withholding tax payment, income tax payment. And sometimes if you have updating in the law, sometimes if they have article announced by the GTA, automatically also through the Dariba portal, you will receive it. Also, if you have any ticket or any issue or any technical issue, also you can automatically raise it to the Dariba. So Dariba portal, it's like the point of contact between all the business unit here in Qatar and all the audit firms, all the even individual or someone he don't know about anything about the tax in Qatar. He can open Dariba portal here in Qatar. He will know all the things about the tax, and there is instruction. How can you registration? How can you file your tax return? How you can do all your tax things without going to the GTA. So basically, Dariba portal, it's making the business and your life It's more intelligent, more technology without going everything. And the most important things that the Dariba portal, they are using that all your data, all your financial things, income, even your income tax, withholding tax, all your returns, it will be fully secure by the technology and by the AI that are you using. Dariba portal, Dariba system, once you register and once you make your account there for your company or for your individual, it will be linked for you for email, phone call, SMS, even your address. So anything that the GTA needed to communicate with you, they have Dariba system to keep in touch, and all the other things that I already tell you about it. Phone call, SMS, your home address. So to make your life and to make your point of contact, it's more easier, and to ensure that all the updating things, it's come to you and you will know it. So, and also, let's talk about what is the AI that the Qatar using. Not even Dariba system. They have also some website and some AI. It will be internally for all the authorities and all the ministries here in Qatar. They are using the financial statement and even the income tax return. They have some AI that they will compare it and they will read your financial statement and income tax return, and any things which will be different and anything it will be raised for the authorities and ministries here in Qatar. Automatically it will go for your Dariba system and they will automatically communicate with you, tell you with the AI things that we are using, there is some difference. They have some inquiries, some of that. So in the end and in closing, whatever we are saying here, Qatar, they are improving to using the AI. Qatar, they are using more the website and all the technology thing to make the business here improving and growing up more faster and more easier for all business unit here in Qatar. If you have any question or if you need any more details about what is the AI and what is the Dariba system and what is the tax here in Qatar, you can immediately come to us and come to me because I'm working here in Ras Al Petrol. Anything you can use it, we can automatically help you about that. Thank you so much and thank you for watching. Have a nice day.
That was Ahmad from Qatar. Thank you, Ahmad. Thank you, La Marquise. And thank you, Marisa from Australia. Well, that's great. That's how we got to the end of the webinar. Unfortunately, we want to say thank you to all of you who joined it. And well, for all the countries that were live, here we are. And thank you very much. Thank you very much. We will be in touch for any doubt that you will have, any comment. I don't know if there's someone's on the chat, but thank you. And thank you to all my colleagues from all around the world. Thank you very much for the effort. Thank you very much for your knowledge, for letting us know what is your country doing with this tax matters. So thank you everyone. Thank you, Antonio. Thank you, Eduardo. Thank you, Rocio. Thank you, Somia. Thank you, Steve, Ana, Carolina. Thank you. Thank you, everyone.
With
Thank
pleasure.
you for joining.
With
Thank
pleasure,
you.
Roberto.
Thank you.
Muchas gracias. Ya nos quedamos los que hablamos español. Gracias a todos. Que estén muy bien. Que tengan buen día.
Gracias, Roberto. Buen día.
Gracias.
Gracias.
Hasta luego. Buen día.
Gracias.
Cuídense.
Buen día.
Gracias. Saludos a todos.
Bye,
Fantástico
bye.
trabajo.
Sí, muy buen
Gracias a ti,
trabajo.
José.
Bien, gracias a todos.
Gracias, José.
Gracias,
Gracias.
muchísimas
Gracias,
gracias,
José.
José,
Nada,
coordinador.
nos vemos en un rato.
Y nos vemos en la noche.
Me voy a dormir.
Nos vemos. Bye, bye. Nos vemos en el otro en la noche, 2:30 de la mañana para nosotros en México. Así que
En la
en vivo
noche así.
estaremos.
Mérito.
Nos vemos
Tiene
en
mucho
noche.
mérito. Gracias por vuestra labor. Gracias.
Gracias.
Sí, ya estamos. Muy bien. Los espero con una botella de vino tinto. Bye, bye.
Gracias, bye bye.